Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. And I'm really excited to give a debut. I can't believe it's been this long, bro, to be fair, to think it's a year, and I've only managed to get you on now. He's a busy guy these days, you see. He's Mr. KG Vision. But it's great to have you on, brother. Thank you for agreeing to come on and giving up your Sunday morning or afternoon. How are you doing, KG, first and foremost?
No, man, I'm good, man. Have I not been on this channel before? No?
Nah,
Don't say where. Okay, right. Fair enough. Right, no problem. Well, listen, I'm here now, so that's the main thing. And shout out to everyone that will be in the chat.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess they'll all be flying over from Connor and Brownie's chat this morning. They probably were saying, "Where's KG?" But I've stolen him for the morning, man.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, but yeah, I did see that they were doing a show together. I'm sure it was good. Brownie's always good for some content, so shout out to them guys.
I feel like Brownie's my sort of like, he's on my level, especially when it comes to like his thoughts on the season and stuff. Like whenever I watch the debrief, I'm like, yes, Brownie.
No, yeah, he's definitely more of the passion merchant like yourself. You guys are definitely on that wavelength. But as you saw, as the season was coming to an end, you both came around in the end. You were there.
This is true.
No, you know what? It is funny though, Joe, because obviously when we're doing content and doing our predictions at the start of the season and when the games are first getting off, you know, a lot of the subscribers that probably have left me now, they were always like, how can you question Bielsa? How can you say this about the players that got us promoted and things like that? You know, be grateful for what we've got. But then in the end, it's not that I'm right. It's just that you can kind of foresee that this was going to happen. And they just come through in the end. They're like, oh, I actually had one come back and say, actually, you were right. And it's like, it's not about being right. Yeah. It's just about trying to see where we were. That 9th place finish was really good, but we did need to recycle some of the players. And that's where we were. But shout out to everyone, man. No problem.
Yeah, so man. The mad thing is as well, like, under Bielsa, I never gave much credence to pre-season, but actually you could see back in pre-season just sort of how stale it was turning. I guess when you look back at it now and stand back and look at the whole season from start to finish, you could see it sort of did start to go a little bit stale with the group.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, pre-season's always a funny one for me because I don't really take too much in it because I've seen teams go unbeaten in pre-season and start the season horrendously, but you could see that the movements, the fluid football that we were doing before, it wasn't so fluid anymore. And that is from the tough training that they were going through, the aging, you know, it puts a lot on your legs. I mean, I look at Jordan Henderson, he's only 31, 32, but because he's in that club system, he's breaking down a bit more and he kind of looks 34, 35 when he's running now. So that's when you always have to look to the squad and recycle it again. Unfortunately, both the board and Bielsa probably felt they were comfortable running this group back again and seeing what they could do this season. And the gamble just paid off. But it was always going to be a disaster. But I never thought, though, Joe, that it was going to be as bad as it was. I thought we would have more than enough to probably be comfortable 15th, 14th. Obviously, we had injuries, but again, that was on the board for not giving us adequate replacements for the injured players. And yeah, it was just a horrible season overall, wasn't it? I mean, you did your match reactions, I did mine, and you can tell through the season we was looking even more beat up as the season was going on.
It's funny you say that, mate, because when I do my pictures for my thumbnail, right, I take them on my laptop and it's on Photo Booth on a Mac, and I went on it the other day to clear some of it off, right? And I actually looked through each picture and I was so depressed. And then every so often they'd be from the West Ham result, and then it'd be I was like, we went on this massive, it was just brutal.
Joe, the best one for me is because people always remind me is looking through February and just seeing when you get to the end, by the time Tottenham comes around, you just look like you just given up hope and everything else like that. It's really funny to look at your moods through the match reactions. It is quite funny, actually.
It's been the first real challenging time I've had as a content creator because I started really, the end of Heckingbottom, I think. I did an interview and then it was all just rosy from then on in, you know what I mean? It's been amazing. So it has been a challenging time, for sure. But, we got the new gaffer in, bro. what did you? Because I didn't really get to have a chance to have a chat with you about that. Obviously, I watch your content. I watch everyone's, man. I just watch too much of it, probably.
Yeah, you take it all in, man. It's,
I do, don't I? But it's not having a job, mate. Being at uni, it's that student life. Do you know what I mean? I can sit and watch YouTube, but what are your thoughts on Marsch, mate? And do you think, obviously, going into the new season, obviously he's bringing in his own squad and that, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But what are your thoughts about Marsch?
Yeah, listen, we can't talk about Marsch, but without talking about Bielsa first. And
fair.
With Bielsa and hindsight being what it is for me, and I've said it on a few of my videos, but if I'm being honest with myself, if it was any other manager, I'd have been calling for him to be gone before Christmas with the way that the season was going. But because it's Bielsa, you think, nah, he's going to get this right. He's going to do something. And it wasn't until, say, mid-January, I realized that the guy's not going to change. It's plan A and nothing else. But unfortunately, the players, you could see the players in themselves, the body language, a lot of them weren't listening anymore. A lot of them couldn't do it anymore. And a change had to be made. The timing was horrendous, though, a month after the transfer window closed. But Marsch did what he had to do. And that's the thing for me. I always said it was about, there's only so much you could get out of that current squad. There was only so much you could do. And even Marsch, I think he even knew that. That's why he wanted Bielsa to stay till the end of the season. And then once remember when Marsch first came in, these are great young men. They're great guys. That chat started to stop after a month or so. And Marsch started to look a little older because I think even he realized, wow, this is a tough job. So it was all about getting results on the board for me. And now we're moving into the new season. We're seeing him getting the kind of players that he wants in. This is where we'll see the type of football that Jesse Marsch wants to play. I mean, I'll just look at the Rasmus Christensen signing as an example and look how happy Marsch was to see him. Thank you for coming here. An actual footballer, I can't believe it. I look into body language a lot, and he just looks so happy that Rasmus had chosen Leeds United over the other options he had.
Yeah, and he chose over Dortmund, which is huge. But I think you're right in terms of that. I think the players hadn't had an arm around him for 3 years, and he came in and he tried to do that. And because what gets me is the Rodrigo stuff. For me, I'd get shot tomorrow, in my personal opinion. But it's like, even that, he thought, how can I get him? I'll make you part of this leadership group. You're this, you're that. And he had about 2 good games and then fell off a cliff again. So, it's like that with him. He's probably, I think even the club, if an offer came in, they probably would move him on. But whether or not one will, we should have probably got rid in the January, I think, when Barcelona were sniffing round. I
mean that goes for quite a few of these players, though. Innit? Some of them should have been gone last season, and this was it, though, Joe. When I was saying this time last year, a lot of people didn't want to hear it. They were like, you're so ungrateful to the promotion, guys. It's not being ungrateful. It's just about knowing that we need to progress and move on. But yeah, Rodrigo for me is someone that could be sold. I thought the remontada was going to continue under Marsch, and it just finished dead. It just stopped. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's the player that we've got. That one has been a flop, unfortunately. Yeah, Dan James, listen, for all of Bielsa's greatness, and he got more hits than misses. Even he couldn't get the final tune out of Dan James, unfortunately. And that was the thing I was banking on when we signed Dan James. That Bielsa's obviously got this folder on him for 2 years. He wants to hone that last bit, but it's just not possible. And I think really the only 2 that Bielsa didn't get progressive out of was him and Tyler Roberts. And I mean, that's another story within itself. I see Alison's in here. She was on my stream the other night, and she said Tyler Roberts was having a medical in Cardiff. I was like, what? Yeah. I was ready to go to the fridge and get a supermalt and everything. I was ready.
Mate, it was round there because someone actually commented on my video before anything came out saying, Joe, Tyler's having a medical at Cardiff today. And I read it in the comments. I was like, nah. Then it actually got tweeted out, but then someone said, listen, he's in Ibiza getting off his face, so he's definitely not having a medical. So, that didn't happen. But I think you're right, KG, and even I can admit when I'm wrong. I think because of the Bielsa effect, it didn't just affect, it affected the squad for me. So I looked on it more glowingly and everything, because everything around Bielsa for me was full of mystique, that. And it was like, he'll get a tune out of Dan James, he'll do this, he'll do that. And then as soon as he went, for example, I'll give you an example, and people might dig me out for this. But at the end of the last game of the season against Brighton, when players came round, Luke Ayling walked past. I know people, and I didn't clap him. And my mate said, what are you doing, man? I went, nah, he got a red. I said, I'm not clapping. He went, come on, Joe, everything is give us. And I went, no. But if Bielsa's still in charge, I'd have been like, yes, Luke. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if there's like been because he's gone now. I look at things like more normally, I guess, like we're a normal football club now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Joe, listen, I fully get it with you. You are fully in on Bielsa. You got a tattoo. You got the new shirt. You know, you cried on stream when he left. You are fully invested in the Bielsa thing. So I completely get it. But you know what? It was even a clip where, you know, because, you know, subscribers, they love to say, hey, did you see what Katie said? Did you see what Joe said? Did you see what Colin said? I remember seeing yours for Cody Drame, and I was like, oh, Joe, you've got this all wrong, man. You know, he was like, oh, if you don't want to be with Bielsa, he can get out. I never want to see him again. It's like, oh, Joe. The thing was, Cody was right. He was absolutely right. And you could tell, and that was where you could see Bielsa's cracks were starting to show, because we had never heard him talk about a player like that before, ever. Even when Saiz left, he said, yeah, he's homesick. If he doesn't want to be here, let him go back to Spain. Simple as that. But Cody, he was making out like Cody was a traitor, and in turn, because Bielsa's so beloved, he made a lot of fans think that too, when Cody was just simply saying, look, I'm not really getting a run of games here, even when Luke Ayling was out long term. Let me go to the championship where I can get first team experience and build up my profile, build up my game time. And he did that. He did that with aplomb as well. He was correct. And I just remember seeing your reaction. I was like, oh, Joe.
Yeah, I did.
No.
But I've come out since and said that, you know, because I know, like, you know, I am a passion merchant, and I was very much, how dare you? But now, like you say, even if it had stuck around, he still wouldn't have got any more game time. Let's be honest.
Look at Joe Gelhardt too. I mean, we're talking goals that we've missed there, and he was another one, Joe. I remember we were speaking at the start of the season. I said Joe Gelhardt is ready to go, but you said Bielsa doesn't think he's ready to go. Maybe he's not ready to go. But I said, listen, Joe Gelhardt, he would just be like a Conor Gallagher who's gone in, Livramento at Southampton, other youngsters that are just taking the Premier League by storm. Yes, he would have had a quiet period. It's just natural with a young player, but he was ready. But neither coach in the end really played Gelhardt in more.
I remember you saying that. I remember watching the video where you said, like, he's doing the same things as what Bielsa did. He's still doing square pegs round holes, playing Dan James up top, etc. You know, I remember you saying that. But you know, we stayed up. Amazing scenes, obviously, against Brentford, and we go again, man. We're still Premier League, which is huge.
Absolutely.
What before we speak about outgoings, and I just want to get your opinion, because I know you'll be pretty straight shooting when it comes to Kalvin. I think, what have you made to the acquisitions and the way the club have gone about it? Because it wasn't until the 16th of July or 17th of July we brought a first team player in this time last year. We've already got 3 in the door, so the club have learned from the mistakes, it would seem.
Yeah, and that's something I want to not beat the club over the head with. I beat them over the head with it enough during the season. And like, what were they playing at? You should be allowed to make up for your mistakes, and I think that's what they're doing right now. And I think we're 3 for 3 so far. I really like all 3 signings we've made. Aronson, I think, is going to be he's the prototype Premier League player these days. Just gets around, but he's got quality on the ball, can pick a pass, and if you need him to shoot, he'll shoot. The one, Mark Rucker, I think, is going to be an excellent addition. I don't think anyone needs to worry about the whole Junior Firpo thing, because he was never out injured long term. It's just that he couldn't get in the Bayern squad, and if you've seen the Bayern squad, you'll understand why. But you know, Christensen for me is a sleeper. I'm looking forward to seeing this guy play. I really am. I think he's going to be an X factor for us down that right hand side. I think he's going to I think he is what you call a modern day fullback. Can get up and down, but he loves to shoot as well, and he's got a wicked cross on him too, Joe. So as long as we get the right players in the attacking areas, they're going to have service, and being a threat from set piece is something that we need. He'll provide that for us too.
I think for me already, and I think people are saying it in the chat, I think we could see it straight away. For me, Christensen's going to get cult hero status within a matter of months, I think. I see him, going wild. And I just see Leeds United fans just connecting with him like we've done with previous. You could say like Pontus or whatever. I just think he's got that mystique about him already, man. Just from seeing him headbutting air vents and that on that video. Do you know what I mean? He's just got that about him.
And the good thing is as well, I mean, it's hard to generalize, but I've not seen many Scandinavian players that aren't like at least hardworking. They will all give you that, and they're all tough as nails as well for me. And he's not the last Scandinavian we should get, by the way, especially if Kalvin goes. I mean, somebody just said that Rucker's too slow. He will be one of many. This is where the board will correct their mistakes. Where we only had Kalvin and Kalvin only, they're going to have a few more options, I reckon, this season. That's what I'm banking on anyway as we speak today.
Yeah, for sure. I think the important thing is, and I seen a definite swing, although it's swung back the other way because it's the transfer window. It's up and down. It's a merry-go-round, and it's same for your emotions. You know, I've seen denial from fans. Kalvin and Raph will stay. Only one will go. I was of the opinion they were. Well, actually, no, I'm lying. I did think Kalvin might give us one more year. Then I went down. Then it went back up. But I've seen like denial. I've seen happiness with the transfers coming in, then an acceptance and people saying, let's just get rid of Kalvin and Raphinha now so we can start to rebuild. But then when the Kalvin deal happened, it's fall off a cliff again. Everyone's fuming again. And how have you found that, mate? Because, you know, doing content, you see your comments. I've seen you been doing a lot of transfer vids and that this time around, which has been good content. So how have you seen it?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, you would wish to build around the two players that of real quality that you've got in Phillips and Raphinha. But unfortunately, we put ourselves in a position where we can't even say to these guys, listen, Raph, Calv, if we get 3 more players, we could be challenging for Europe. We're just not in that position, Joe. So we have to look at it from the standpoint of we finished 17th. These 2 players are ready for European football and should be playing European football. Once you have that acceptance, you can go from there. Because I am at that stage where I want the 2 deals done just so we can get the money in and flesh out the squad. I think it's more important. Yes, we're going to be losing 2 quality players, but it's much more important that we get more quality around the squad, especially with 5 subs. No, it would be a crime if we're, you know, and I always say it because I feel bad, but it would be a crime if we're looking at Stuart McKinstry next season in the 5 subs and he comes on. We just can't have that next year. That can't happen again. So it's important that we fill in the slots and the squad with very good players that, you know, Kalvin going for what, 45 million.
Yeah.
The Tyler Adams thing, I've seen people quote 30, but then I've seen a report saying that Leipzig may only want 15. Now that's a lot more palatable for me because then you can probably go get Sander Berg for 25 plus add-ons. And then that for me makes our midfield along with Rucker already better than it was last season.
Yeah, I think the great point you make, and I think it was Graham Smith said it, but it really stuck with me. You know, you mentioned McKinstry. I remember the first season in the Championship, it was Jordan Stevens all the time, and he was just never of the level. Then we bring in a Costa and that in the Championship, and it makes the squad overall better. Okay, that wasn't ready for the Prem, but now with these outgoings, it helps us fund it. And Graham Smith said it goes from Premier League potential to Premier League ready. And I think that's the difference, isn't it? When you're maybe relegating a Forshaw and a Click to the bench, they're still good substitutes as opposed to, you know, young kids actually great. No, I hear. Do you know what I mean? Though, in terms of the level of the squad does go up. Of course, we'd want to flesh it out more, but it certainly does go up.
Well, that's it. I mean, we just seen, didn't we? Ryan Edmondson. Remember all the hype about him? He's moved on to Carlisle now. Yeah. That's as well where some fans need to get their mindset to. Championship, you can get away with giving players like McKinstry their debuts and stuff like that. Premier League is unforgiving, and we found that out the hard way last season.
Yeah, for sure, you're right. I remember calls for him to start over Bamford and stuff. I still see it now. I still see people like say, Borges needs a chance, and I'm like, he's playing second tier in Spain.
There's third tier, isn't it? It's a third tier.
Third tier even for Ibiza. You know what I mean? It's like the step up's astronomical. You know what I mean? You've even to look at someone like Alfie McCalmont, who was muted at one point. He's playing for his national side, but he's playing League One football. You know what I mean? So the step up's huge. Let's talk about Kalvin then, mate. The man of the moment. Obviously, the deal believed to be between 42 to 50. I'm going to say about, we don't know 100%. What are your thoughts on that initially when it went through? How are you feeling now about the fee? Because people went wild with the fee.
Yeah, I saw.
Just on social media everywhere, bro. Like even still, I'm going on, and there's still like, oh, Maguire and this and what about that, and we'll talk about it. Go on, just give me your initial thoughts, bro.
Yeah, listen, I think with Kalvin, I think Kalvin made it probably clear that there's only a couple of options he would go to. I never bought the abroad stuff. I just didn't, because for me, he doesn't strike me as a guy that will go abroad. You know, I know there's some players that will, but you can see the personalities that they've got, you know, Tomori, Abraham. These guys, they're willing to take a chance on themselves. I don't think Kalvin would have done it, even in Paris, and that's not that far away. So I think it would have been Man City or maybe Liverpool if they were interested.
Yeah.
So it kind of limits your options there. Then you got to take into consideration that he hasn't played that many games overall, not as many as he should have. Wow. So that all comes into the equation of the fee. It's tough that we didn't get the English tax on it, and I do get that why people are upset. But listen, if the club have said that the deal is good enough, and even if the add-ons take us up to 50 million, which in a Man City team, I believe they could reach it if it's dependent on appearances, cup wins, or league wins, then we'll probably see the majority of that money. So yeah, I'm not mad at it. I think it was written in the stars that he was going to go because he didn't sign a contract. Yeah. Raphinha didn't sign a contract, but more so Kalvin. If anyone was going to do it, it was going to be him, especially after surviving. And he changed agents. You're not changing your agent just to sign a new contract.
Same one as Grealish as well, right? Same one as Grealish. So.
Yes. So the writing's on the wall. Yeah. And even when he was asked a question, he didn't word it as to say, I'm looking to stay at Leeds for a few more years. He basically said for the immediate future. He worded it very well. It was a very PR response. So it was on the wall that he was going to go. And for us, last season was the highest stock that he was ever going to have, but we was never going to sell him last season. This is probably going to be the next best thing for us now in terms of getting money in for the squad.
Yeah. And I know you jumped in on my stream the other night, but left that, you know, I looked at some of the other signings across the league in that similar position, mate, and you had Kanté went for 32 million, Rodri 60 odd, you had Bruno Guimaraes go for 32 or something. So the figures actually not that bad, even on radio on TalkSport and that they were all going, oh, it's not enough, but I don't know what people were expecting. And if Raphinha goes for 60 to 65 to pull in 100 million for the two players, I think it's decent.
Yeah, hold on. My thing's going funny. Let me jump out and jump back in.
No worries, KJ, no worries. We will go. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people in the chat as well just mentioning about him having other clubs coming in for him. And people being disappointed that he didn't opt for them clubs. But I think for me personally, just while we wait for KJ, I think it's decent from the club because Kalvin gave us some of his best years, stayed with us in the Championship. I do not begrudge him this move. Me personally, I don't. I know some fans will turn around and not want to, not support him as per se, but be like, oh, he's gone now, it doesn't matter, etc. But I want him to go win things. I want him to go and win things under Pep. You know, he was offered an opportunity to go work under the best coach in world football in Pep Guardiola. So I'm happy with him making that move. I see that some people, oh, he's gone for the money, etc. He's not gone for the money, man. Otherwise, he'd have gone to these other clubs that were probably offering him more in wages, more of a prominent place in the side. Do you know what I mean? He's going to have to play second fiddle for a little bit until he gets, up to the level, unless Pep decides to play him alongside Rodri at times. It all depends, but I think
Yeah, good old Wi-Fi again. I think somebody in the chat already mentioned about my Wi-Fi issues.
Yeah, I see it from time to time. I watched Michael Normanton have to do your stream for you, bro.
Yeah, that was yeah, it's very frustrating, but I don't know whether it's the Wi-Fi or the laptop I'm using. I've got to be honest now. I think it's probably the laptop. So yeah, it is what it is. But I'm back, man. I'm back.
Yeah. But you were saying about the wired connection, feeds. Mate. You need to get that wired connection.
It is. I've got the Ethernet cable and everything, but it's frustrating. But what can I do?
Yeah, it's what it is. Go on. You were saying?
No, you were saying about the combined fees.
Yeah. 100 million. Yeah.
I mean, it's not as much as I would have thought, because in a better, if we had finished higher up the table and we're relying on them to try and get us into Europe, I think we would have got better money for them. But the fact that we finished so low, and we're grateful for them keeping us up, and they probably had a little gentleman's agreement too. I think that's why the figures that you're seeing are so low for the two players. Raphinha, for me, I mean, he's much higher than a £65 million player, but with goodwill that probably the club have had to give him after the disaster of the season that we've just had, yeah, it's probably the going rate for him at this moment in time.
I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans scoff at that price, you know, like get annoyed at that price. I think it's crazy talk, because outside the top six, he's the one, isn't he, really?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's that top six club bias, man, where until they get the player and they see what they can do in their shirt, they don't think that they're worth the money that they're about to pay. You see it with all those big clubs. They think that they should be able to get everyone for cheap, and then they say they're world class. Listen, he'll go there and he'll be a starter. There's no way, I don't think that Raphinha, with the amount of convincing it will take for him to go to Arsenal, is going to settle to be a bench player. So you're probably going to see some movement there. But you know what? That's for them to work out. As long as they pay the money that we need and then we can reinvest, that's all I care about. Because I wanted to see Raphinha leave the country. I would have preferred that. But then you get to a point where it's like, okay, this is going on long enough. Let's get the money in and wish Raphinha all the best, because he's been terrific for us. Been brilliant over the 2 years.
There were some people tried to push the narrative that he checked out as well towards the end of the season, and it couldn't have been further from the truth. I never jumped on that. I never once believed that to be the case. He was just frustrated, man. He was being played out of position, etc. But you seen on that final day, man, when he was crawling on the pitch, it showed that his prayers were answered. Do you know what I mean? When really for Raphinha, probably maybe best scenario was Leeds get relegated and he moves on for nothing, and he'd already be a Barca player. So it shows how much it meant.
Yeah, he'd be at Barcelona right now, but that's the kind of player he is. Even if he doesn't get a move, let's say he doesn't get a move this summer, he won't put in subpar performances. It's just not in his nature. You look, and I go back to the Brighton game at home where we were celebrating like mad, and he's telling everyone to get back to the centre circle to try and win the game. That's what you've got in there. You've got a winner there. You've got somebody that wants to win. And obviously, and I've said it many times on my channel, Joe, I think that the way the season went and the January window, I don't think he was happy with that. I think that he thought that they were going to get some new recruits in to help out, and it didn't happen. You saw how much it dipped for like maybe 3-4 games after he came back from Brazil. I think it was disappointment there in the club in the window. I genuinely believe that as well.
Yeah, it was poor mismanagement for sure. Whoever's blame that is on it, you know, you can look at it now in the cold light of day and say it wasn't great. We know they're both going to move on, mate. Like, in terms of replacement, Graham Smith's done an article just before we came live, to be fair, to say that Tyler Adams is pretty high up on that list as a Kalvin replacement. I know a lot of people tend to prefer Mo Kamara. I've not seen Mo Kamara. I know everyone's, you know, very happy with him and would love to get that one over the line. And all as a fan of, but apparently Graham Smith's saying he's thought to be at the pricier end of the options available to the Whites. And like you mentioned, it makes sense for what you said about Tyler Adams' price dropping. It's easier to broker the deal because they know Leipzig want to sell. He wants to move on. Jesse actually gave him his debut back at New York Red Bulls. I think Jesse's preferred option would be Tyler Adams regardless, personally. So do you see that as being adequate a placement, or do we have to get that and one other? Because I was hoping Lavia was coming on loan, bro, as part of this deal, and we ended up with this kid Javi that I've never heard of. I hope he's great, by the way. I'm not digging him out. It's just like, what happened to McAtee and Lavia, you know?
No. Man City are going to, with McAtee and Cole Palmer, Man City are going to go down the Phil Foden route, whereas it's better to learn under Pep, learn from Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, than go out on loan, and that's completely understandable. Yeah. In terms of the replacement, Tyler Adams, for me, I've only seen him a few times, and he was a defensive midfielder at the very basic level in terms of he tackled and he gave the ball simply. That's it. That's all I ever saw him do. And if that's his role, that's fine. But then you need somebody else to supplement that. You need a bit more in midfield than just those attributes. So I do hope that they are looking at some more midfielders. I mean, I mentioned Sander Berger, but even Douglas Luiz at Aston Villa, who's probably coming close to surplus to requirements. He would be somebody I would look at too. But again, that could be pretty pricey coming from another Premier League team.
Do you see a midfield two of Adams and Rocha, or is that not a good feel for us to be starting with that as the double pivot come the start of the season?
I mean, yeah. I mean, because Rocha can progress the ball a lot better than Tyler Adams. That's obvious. But I think you still need somebody who can get up and down the pitch a bit with a bit more fluidity in terms of like a Sanderberger who's box to box. I'd like to see like someone like Morgan Gibbs-White being bought for an advanced role in attacking midfield. There's various options out there that we need to look at, but it's all about getting the numbers in and hopefully at decent prices too.
Yeah, that's the key point in it. I was having this debate on Wednesday about, just because you sell a player for top white, you don't need to then replace him with someone for top white. There's players out there on the continent that can be bought for cheap prices and have, a big resale value. One of them players, because Graham Smith mentions in the article that we are working on a centre forward, two targets topping that list.
Yeah,
I don't know who that other one is, but we know that one of them is Club Brugge star. I'm not going to try his name because I keep getting it wrong. So CDK, Charles De Ketelaere. De Ketelaere, there you go. But he seems to be some boy. And I totally hear what you're saying about him being Bamford Mark II on your stream, man. They look identical. Charles and Patrick as our front twos. Mad, isn't it? Charles and Patrick.
Yeah. And with that as well, what you mentioned before about not replacing a 45 million player with another one. Yeah, in our position, we can't do that. If you're challenging for leagues and things like that, you can do that. But in our position, we need to get more bodies in the squad. So it wouldn't make any sense for us to go and spend 45 million on Kalvin's replacement. It would just be ridiculous. Then we're in the same position. We may as well not sell him and keep him here. So in terms of the forward, the Charles De Ketelaere one, I was shocked that was even a possibility. Yeah. When Fabrizio mentioned it, I was like, no way. Because I've seen him linked with Chelsea before. I've seen him come up. And I just thought that would be a little bit out of our reach. But I mean, I've said it on my video many times that you can always convince a player to try your project. Now, even if he signs a 5-year deal, the reality is he probably won't be here for 5 years. But we as a club have to accept that's where we are. We are probably the bridge until they get to their next big club, until we push ourselves at the table. And as long as you're willing to accept that and get that ready in your head, signing a player like that, just enjoying while they're here, much like Raphinha, enjoying while they're here. And hope you progress. If not, you have to face the consequences of him being sold. So hopefully that one's not dead. There was rumors that he said no outright, but then I've seen others that said that's not true. And you have to let Victor Orta and Jesse Marsch get their hands on him and talk to him and sell him the project. And if that doesn't work, then move on to your next target. But I remember you mentioned that there's 2 targets, but Jesse did say that during the season, and it was during the conversation about Bamford being unavailable. And he, in that very same press conference, he said, I've already given Victor Orta striker targets and we'll hopefully sign 2. So I think that was always the plan.
Nice, that'd be decent. Just on those that are asking in the chat about the CDK move, so there was reports that his entourage had let Leeds United know that he doesn't favour the move. Graham Smith sort of is mentioning that, but, and this big but, says Orta is intent on presenting what he believes to be a big opportunity for the Belgian. He says could not expect to meet the Serie A champions financially, and obviously the offer of Champions League football, but the narrative is helping to propel his career like he's done with Meslier and Raphinha, because you come into the Premier League, you're getting game time, and if in a couple of years we won't stand in your way for a big move to the Champions League, and that's what will be sold to him. We know that Orta's very good at presenting these opportunities. He goes over, he presents them with videos. Mark Rocha mentioned it, Robin Koch mentioned it. It's something that's always done. So we know that he's already been in Belgium once. We've seen he was in Manchester Airport. He was obviously going out sounding it out. The thing is with Orta, as much as he gets flack, I like him, but they are persistent. We've seen that with Bielsa. They don't just give up. They will go again, and hopefully they can convince him, because a front 2 or him in the 10 just behind Bamford would be unbelievable, I think.
Yeah, and whoever else they're getting ready to sign along with Gelhardt for me.
Yeah,
I've still got huge question marks over Bamford overall, in all honesty. So But in terms of Victor, of course, that's what we have to sell him. It is that way, and it was much like what I said about Jed Spence. If we could before we signed Christensen, if we sell to Jed Spence, listen, we know Arsenal, Tottenham want you, but you'll get 38 games here at Leeds United in the league. It's a great platform for you to be showcased on at a pretty big club. And if you progress the way that you progress, we will not hold you back. And that's what they're going to have to do with CDK. And I think they will do it. I mean, I don't know if they're going to get the deal done, because it would be a massive, massive signing if we do get this one. Trust me on this. And it just gives him a platform as well. He'll get regular football here and give his chances of the World Cup even better, playing in the Premier League and doing the business here. And I genuinely believe he'll do it. There's not many Belgians. There's not many Belgians, Joe, that come in. Not generalising, but there's not many Belgians that play in the Premier League that flop.
No, it's true. It's true. And I think he won like a Young Player of the Year award, which the likes of Origi and Lukaku have won and stuff. You know what I mean? So I think he take to it like a duck to water. I agree. I've seen some mad, like some guy, Ethan, online, who's very knowledgeable. He was chatting about him, saying he says he's like Suarez in the terms that he can just bundle his way through, do you know what I mean? And bounce players off him, etc. He's been likened to KDB. If you watch some of his highlights, I know anybody can look, good on YouTube highlights, but he does look a special talent. And
I mean, listen, I don't know if you watched the Nation League game for Italy, Belgium, but he actually scored in that game. Yeah, but I just never took any notice. I was like, okay, he scored. Good luck to him. I reckon he's going to be off to bloody Juventus or something. But and then you see Leeds United link. He's like, wow, that will definitely soften the blow for a lot of people once you get to see him play in the flesh.
Yeah, for sure. Another player that's been linked, mate, is Cody Gakpo. I don't know if that's like gone a little bit quiet now. It looks like CDK and Tyler Adams, for me, look to be the main targets. I'm expecting a quick turnover on Tyler Adams because I think that deal is really easy for Leeds United to do.
Sorry, I was just going to say, with Phillips going, I think Adams will probably be announced maybe a day or two after. I think they're getting that done now, probably negotiating the fee with Leipzig. Maybe that's already done. I know they just know they can't leave it too long to replace Phillips, because then they'll be bombarded with, what are we doing the replacement for Phillips? They know what's coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Please, no. Oh, Lord.
He's mad. What do you want to see going the other way, bro? Or do you think we can be in a position to do that? Obviously, everyone keeps hammering Tyler Roberts in the chat, and obviously because they want your opinion on Tyler, clearly. Every couple of messages like Tyler Roberts. So what do you want to see go the other way? I think the likes of Shackleton probably go. It's hard for me to do, but I think, he's not going to make it at Leeds, so he needs to move on. You'll kill me for this, but is there not a case that maybe Tyler Roberts in a more narrow system could have more of an impact under Jesse? Or no, he's not having it. He's not having it.
End the stream, Dave. End the stream.
Is it game over for Tyler then? Yeah.
You know what, Joe? I mean, listen, football's all about opinions, isn't it? We all have our opinions, but I will throw it back to you, Joe. Let me ask you, in what you've seen so far of Tyler Roberts from Championship till now, is there anything that tells you this guy's going to make it at Leeds United?
The only I remember his 2 goals against Preston, I think, in the first season, which were decent, and then the whole goal. But that's it. Now you're right, bro. You are right. You are right. Well, I guess I feel that he gets battered too much, though, KG. I think it's a little bit unfair. It's not his fault.
But Joe, this is where I stopped bashing him, because it wasn't his fault that he kept on getting on the pitch before Gelhardt. That's where I would say, what is Bielsa doing? Keep on putting this guy on before Joe Gelhardt, and that's where I am. But now we're in the off season. It's up to the club to see. Listen, Tyler, mate, this isn't working out. You need to go. I know. I look at it at many different angles, Joe. Even Forest that have just come up via the playoffs, he doesn't start for Forest either. And you look at it and you see Wales. He plays for Wales, right? Johnny Williams gets on the pitch in midfield before he does. Johnny Williams.
That's true.
So it's about he's just not good enough. And it's as simple as that. And we've seen enough evidence. He's played over 100 games for our great club, Joe. And I don't even know if he's hit double figures in goals. People don't even know what he is. Is he a striker? Is he attacking midfield?
Yeah.
And another thing I'll just say on that is we saw more in the little cameos that Sam Greenwood made in that kind of role than what we ever did in Tyler Roberts. And I think that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, that's fair. He's probably usurped him in terms of the pecking order.
Absolutely,
yeah. Would you want to see anyone else go? What about Matthias Klick, or do you think there's still a position for him in the squad?
Nah, he needs to go.
Yeah.
He needs to go. The problem is he's very beloved by the Leeds fans and he's very good at social media. So it's going to be, every time that I think he might be off, the club retweet his tweet and it's like, oh boy. And then all I see is, I hope you stay forever. It's like, oh boy. But again, he's not good enough. He's just not good enough for the Prem. And then we look at it again. Off the bench, he's one of your 5 subs. What are we going to get from him? In terms, he's allegedly attacking midfielder. Look at his output last season. It was shocking in every single way imaginable. He can't shoot. I mean, when he does shoot it hard, it goes over. If he shoots soft, it's like a daisy cutter across the ground. He's just diminishing. I think he needs to go. I think he would probably benefit from a move. And as well, I think we could probably get 4 to 5 million from him from a Dutch or German club. I genuinely believe that, but he's probably comfortable. I don't know if the club are looking to move him, but then it's about replacing those players with other players. They don't have to all be expensive. There's different. I mean, listen, Joe Rothwell's just moved to Bournemouth on a free. I would have taken him as a bench player over Klick. It just gives you something different, doesn't it? So, yeah, there are some that need to go, and the club should be looking to move some of them on because we can't have a lot of these players playing a lot of games again. If we see, let's just say we see Forshaw or Klick for 25 games next season, I think we pretty much know where we're going to be finishing next season, and it won't be high in the table. Yeah,
and the seasons, the transfers would have bombed if that's the case. Agreed, mate. I know this is a topic we'll disagree on, but how do you see the centre-back partnership going into the season? You know, we'll have to talk
here we
about
go.
it.
Yeah, listen, for me, it's going to be, I would probably prefer Pascal and Robin Koch, or even Koch and Llorente.
Okay.
In terms of centre-back partnership, because it's funny, we conceded so many goals, didn't we, last season? But I think it was more of the team around them, which made our centre-backs look so bad, in the fact that we didn't have proper full-backs, not ones that are viable for the Premier League. We had Dallas and Ayling, and it wasn't working for them at full-back. We didn't really have a midfielder part, you know, when you relied on Forshaw and Klick, and Kalvin was out. I think it was a basis of the rest of the team making our centre-backs look worse than they were. Because you saw in the last couple of months, Pascal's confidence had gone. He had to come out the team.
He did need to, didn't he? Yeah, massively.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even though I love Pascal, I could see, I was like, nah, we need to get this kid out of here. He needs a break. And Llorente as well, even his decision-making had got worse as the season went on. He was getting more erratic as the season went on. And the passes, he was trying to do his passes, but there was no one to pass to. You were relying on Dan James up front, and it wasn't working. So I think it's like a fresh start for everybody. And if we're going to go with 2, I see Strauch and Koch being our first choice, but it probably will be Llorente if he's not sold in the summer.
Yeah. Do you envisage a scenario where we play with a back 3 and 2 full-backs?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely see that. I think, Jesse, with the fact that we've been linked with Gakpo, as you mentioned earlier, and the fact that they want to keep Somerville means that we're going to have various ways of playing. It's not just going to be one way. So the fact that we're going to keep those options is a pretty good thing for me. And I mentioned it on my previous video, just the one I've done, but I think Jack Harrison may be going to left wing back.
Yeah.
And if there's 3 centre-backs, that's a really good option for me.
Yeah, I agree. Oscar said that ages ago. I think he had a friend at City, and he said that City seen Jack Harrison long term as a left back.
And so did Conte, by the way, which is why Spurs wanted him. They wanted him to be their left wing back. That's what Conte would have done to him, like he did with Ashley Young and Victor Moses. He was going to do that with Harrison. Yeah.
So and let's talk about the left back scenario then, because obviously it's one of real hot topic at the minute. I think I forget his name, Ollie Tate, maybe at the Mail or something last night, said that Leeds are after a left back, but also then mentioned that we're in for Ben Foster. And I was like, well, Cagey broke that story years ago, and people are still KG, you're still quoting him in articles, so I was like, Ollie's not the guy. He's just guessing here. So I was like, I'm not sure on the left back. From everything we're hearing from the Leeds end, doesn't sound like we are after one. I think it's crazy. I read the other day that what's he called over at Ajax? Tagliafico was available for a cut down price. We know Charlie Taylor's available in the Championship as well, who could do a fantastic job. But it just doesn't seem like we're in for one. Do you believe that's because they look at Harrison there, and then we've got Strauch and Kjelder who can also play there?
Yeah, and I think they're just relying on Firpo being better in the second season. I think they're banking on Firpo now being settled. He's had his kid. He's married now. Maybe they're banking on him being over his COVID injury problems too, and that he'll settle in. That's on them to gamble. But I do believe it's because Harrison will be converted. That's just the feeling I've got right now. Obviously, if we sign another left back, then that's obviously not true. But that's the way I see it right now. I think they're going with Firpo. And like you say, if in case of emergency, Yelder's there, Strauch can do it. But I don't want to see that, man. I don't want to see those guys being played out of position. I think we can move people around, but not if we have to. It's got to be in case of emergency for me. I think we've got to get past that thing now. We should have 2 players in every position. Now, we can't go with that small squad and Luke Ayling can play here, and there. Dallas can play everywhere and everything else like that. We've got to move on from that now. And I think that's what the club are doing. But we'll see what happens on the left-back front. Firpo, for me, there's something there. But, man, I mean, he does switch off a little bit too much, but I'm hoping that with time and with pre-season, Jesse Marsch can get into him and get some work out of him. If not, then that's on the club again. But it's better to have a failure in one position than how we had last year in multiple positions.
Yeah, I think the thing that lets Firpo down is just his timing with the tackle as well, man. He just gets a yellow card every tackle he makes, doesn't he? So there's that all comes down to timing and when knowing to go for the ball, so you're not taking down your man, you know. So maybe that will come on. I don't know. I know a lot of people are saying it is done, and I haven't seen enough from him to think that we'll get a tune out of him. And
I understand that too. I completely hear it because I don't see either, but I'm just going by what I think the club are banking on.
Oh, yeah. 100%, yeah. Is there anyone you'd like to see given more of a chance? I'd like to see Creswell given a chance. There's been talk of him potentially going out on a loan. I don't want that, KG. In my head, when I heard that, I was like, right, well, if we play with a back 3, he'll get more game time. I want him to stay at Leeds United because my worry is that he's more Leeds than what Kalvin is. This guy is going to games, he's watching his, you know what I mean? He bleeds that stuff, but that it doesn't count for anything when you want to go and win stuff, you know what I mean? And people get that twisted and go, it's not Leeds anymore. And it's like, no, like they want to win things, man. Yeah. And my worry is he goes out on loan and smashes it, and then the Wolves start to circle and are saying, look, Charlie, we can pay you X. Because we know from a young age, City, everyone's looked at this kid.
Yeah, and they still are. They still are, by the way.
They still are. So, you know, you even had Gareth Southgate name checking him, man. Gareth Southgate name checking him. So it shows you the talent he's got.
He's highly talented. That's it for me as well. I think there's other centre backs that should be going before Charlie Creswell. And if he does go out on loan, I think it's only just to get him game time and he comes back to Leeds United. I do not want to see Charlie Creswell sold from Leeds at all. And like you say, if we're playing in the back 3, even more reason for him to stay because he will get games here. When someone goes down injured or loss of form, whatever it may be, he should be first up. But again, like last season, I mean, the one that sticks out so much in my head is Brentford at home, where Cooper goes off injured. Charlie Creswell's the only centre back. And it's like, yeah, we're going to see Charlie Creswell. And it's like, nope, Jack Harrison, come on. It's like,
it was click, wasn't it? It was click for Cooper, I think. It was click for Cooper. Man,
did he go click in the end? Yeah, there was like three options.
I think he had Cock in the DM, so then he put Cock back at centre-back and then brought Click into midfield, and it was like, oh, man.
Yeah, and unfortunately for fans, you've got to understand that players want to play. It doesn't matter that he supports Leeds or anything else like that. This is their professional career. It's very limited time. It seems like a long time, but it's really not. It's gone before they know it. So he's going to want to play a game. So if he's asking to go out on loan, if he's not asking for a permanent move, I can accept that. I can accept him going first team football somewhere else. But ideally, I would like him to stay because I think he's one of our better centre backs. I genuinely believe that too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I just want to shout out Mantra, who's just come a member on the show. So big shout out, Mantra. Thank you very much for signing up. Everyone, make sure you go over to Cage's channel as well. I know a lot of you already are. I love this from Keith Hunt. He said, "Good to see you lads collaborating. Would like to see more of the straight shooter and the optimist." there's definitely a name in there, isn't there? There's definitely a tagline for a regular video. But Cage is too busy, man. He's moving up them levels, man. But well, I'll try arrange it. I'll try arrange it.
No, but it's good though, because like I said to you, where people would have probably unsubscribed from me at the start of the season, it's good to get different opinions. I always find it's better. I always make it clear on my channels. Well, it's not an echo chamber. Like, just because I'm saying it, it's my opinion. It doesn't, but I will still flag up an opinion. Like you say with Tyler Roberts, there's still people that believe there's a player in Tyler Roberts. I'll always flag up those comments and let people have their say, because it genuinely, we all just have the opinions. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess another player you want to see more of is, of course, Joe Gelhardt. He's got to play more, because my worry is as well, KG, with him, don't know how long he's got left on his deal, but if it gets to a point where he's not getting enough game time, best believe there'll be loads of Premier League clubs saying to him, we'll offer you that game time, kid. You know what I mean? Because there's so much, potential there. I mean, he was not nominated for the Golden Ball. Golden Ball. That is insane. That is insane that he's at our football club.
And then, and this is where I talk about where I mentioned Tyler Roberts probably wouldn't start for Forest. Gelhardt goes to Forest. He's their main player.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about. What we saw in the little time we got of Gelhardt, if he was at another club and we were linked to him, we'd be like, oh my God, we've got to get this kid. Look what he did for this club last season. Yeah. So we need to give him more game time, and I believe he will get that this season. Even with the two strikers coming in, which is why I do have a question mark over Bamford. Listen, I've got my thoughts on Bamford, man, and it's not good. But I'm glad the scenario didn't play out the way that I thought it was going to, because then I would have probably been proven right. Whereas it didn't happen, so there's nothing to prove wrong. But I just think Jesse as well. I mean, Jesse even said on one of the games before Brighton, listen, he's ready to go. He's fit. He should be playing. And then he mentioned that he needed to have a meeting with him about if he's going to play. All those things for me, it just makes me question about how committed he was to the cause coming the end of the season, because he probably thought we were going to go down. And I don't know. We'll see in the coming weeks how involved he is. If he comes back raring to go, good, great. But I want somebody more reliable anyway, so I'm glad that the club are looking at options. But yes, Gelhardt, for me, has to get more game time. He's Premier League ready. He's got all the tools. Put him in the box, he's going to shoot. If he's outside the box, he's going to keep the ball. It's very hard to get it off him. Just give the guy some game time.
100%. I mean, scoring against Chelsea down at Stamford Bridge, doing what he did against Norwich, that move against Brighton, doing what he did to Dunk. And Dunk's no slouch. You know what I mean? He's no slouch. So yeah, it is exceptional. Mantra with the super chat said, if Creswell went out on loan, he becomes the new Ben White. There probably is something out in that, to be fair. So thank you for the super chat. Obviously, we're coming towards the end of the vid, nearly done an hour, Cage. But what do you think we need to? What do we need to happen? And what do you envisage happening between now and pre-season or the start of the season? Because I'm thinking we might get all our business done a couple of weeks before,
Yeah, I'm in that kind of thinking too. I think that the club are working behind the scenes as we speak now in terms of getting in targets. They know losing Raphinha and Kalvin Phillips is huge for anybody. But I'm not looking at that as, oh my God, we're banging trouble. I'm looking at it as this is the regeneration of the squad. This is where we get more bodies in of good to very good quality and make the team even better. And I think the club have to look at it that way. What I would want to happen is, for next season, if we're talking next season predictions, I'll settle for a boring old 14th place finish.
Yeah, same.
No problems. We win one, lose one, draw two, win one, lose two, win one. I'd take that. I would happily take that next season compared to this one. But we have to keep recruiting, because currently what we've got now means we're still in trouble. It means we're still in trouble. So we do need to carry on recruiting and getting the quality players in.
And what would you like to see come in, Cage?
An experienced goalkeeper. We cannot let Melier hang out to dry, which is why I mentioned Ben Foster and it went all around the place.
Still doing it now, bro. Still doing it. It's class.
It's crazy.
Every time I look at Cage, you said, because I'm like, oh, it's a new link, and then I look and it'll go Cage. I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah. And the thing is, I said that months ago as well, but it just makes sense. Yeah, it's crazy, but it just makes sense. And you know, the reason why Ben Foster's a seasoned pro, he's seen and done it all internationally as well. We need that kind of backup. I mean, I saw a Darren Randolph link. Darren Randolph's a good goalkeeper to have as your backup. John Ruddy, I'm not feeling the John Ruddy one, but Darren Randolph or Ben Foster for me, excellent. You need to have that as a goalkeeper. The guy was, you could see even Melier, and he's always cool as a cucumber, isn't he? But even in that period when we was getting absolutely battered, his confidence was gone. You could see it in his eyes.
Yeah, he was scared. He was scared, man.
The mistake against Arsenal, he would have shrugged that off a couple of years ago. But you could see it was playing on his mind for the next 20 minutes. You got an experienced pro there to have a word with him, or even then take him out for a couple of games. You don't get those problems. So that's important. We need to get more attacking midfielders for me. Like I said, Morgan Gibbs-White would be absolutely perfect. It sounds like I'm trying to recruit the Sheffield United midfield from last season. But the thing is, now, yeah, I know, but they are ready for the Prem. Trust me on this. They're so ready. Morgan Gibbs-White had all the potential at Wolves, but he had limited chances. He just needed to go out and get regular football and hone his skills, and he did that with and then some. He's going to be terrific. And obviously strikers. We need a couple of strikers. We cannot go with the goal output that we had last season. Gelhardt didn't get enough game time, but that aside, the returns of goals was so poor. So poor.
Quick question on the striker. Are you glad Eddie Nketiah signed a new deal at Arsenal?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen he's given Henry's shirt number as well, which is a madness, man.
Listen,
I know it's only a shirt number, but for them, that's like historic, man. I'm seeing them all like spewing over it.
Yeah. A couple of my guys are not happy about that. But listen, the thing is as well, when you really break it down, I mean, you've got to score your goals anyway. That happens. But he scored 2 goals against Chelsea. I mean, there were so uncharacteristic mistakes as well by Azpilicueta and things like that. And then he got some against Leeds. You got to have that Leeds tax on it from last season. You know, Paul Pogba got 4 assists against us at the start of the season. He ended with 7. All right, so the Leeds tax is heavy. All right, but listen, good luck to Nketiah. But I am glad he's not here. I did not want that. A lot of fans were calling for it, but again, it's because he's familiar. He's been here before. A lot of fans know him from there, and he scores against us, which, you know, again, not being horrible. A lot of fans, Leeds fans, do just watch Leeds United, so then they don't know that he's not that good. But listen, Arsenal will find that out. I wish him all the best. He was fine for us, you know what I mean? But
he scored some good goals as well, like some important ones.
But as an option, I'm glad he's not coming.
Arsenal, him stay there. Where do you, I didn't ask you actually. Where do you stand, and where do you think Raphinha is going to end up? It's looking like Arsenal, you know, which I think is mad, but they seem to be the front runners, man.
Because they're the ones that look like they're willing to pay the money, which is the most important thing. And I think it's probably taken some convincing. Maybe spoken to Gabriel Jesus, who's going there too. Gabriel, who's already there, and said, "Listen, come here, man. We can do something here." But for me, personally, I just think he's ready to go to a contending team. His skill set and his talent tells me he should be in the Champions League. But if he's that desperate just to get away from the team that's going to probably be flirting with mid-table to the bottom and go up the league, if he's just going to accept that, then fine. You know, good luck to him as long as we get the money. But if I was him, have a good World Cup and then see where you go in January. That's what I would do if I was him. But
do you know what as well, KJ? I was listening to something this morning. You've just reminded me. It was actually the Big Six, and the City Extra guy mentioned how old Mahrez was, and it piqued my interest because I thought if he waits it out, say till January, and Mahrez maybe even next, like City probably, because I think if Mahrez isn't at City, then he probably moves there. Do you know what I mean? I think that, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking, but he could replace Mahrez. I think that would be an option, but I think probably Saka's going to probably fill that spot at City. I've got a feeling, that Saka's going to probably fill that spot at Man City. Just a hunch I've got. But he would be ready for that kind of move. He's that good, which is why the Arsenal thing is confusing. And but listen, that's up to him. The thing he has to realize as well, that is, if he goes to Arsenal, all those dreams of Barcelona are probably going to be dead. Because Arsenal aren't going to sign him on a 2-year, 3-year contract. It's going to probably be 4 or 5 years. That's what I mean. He's got a lot of things to consider, but it's down to him and Deco at the end of the day. If Chelsea had the money, I think he would have gone Chelsea. If Spurs had the money, I think he would have definitely gone there too.
this might just be the best option for him, and that's outside of Champions League.
Yeah, I'm quite excited for the demise of Chelsea this season. You know, I think personally, football's cyclical, man. It goes in cycles, and I think their time's come. This new owner seems to have sacked everyone and wants to do it all himself, and I'm a bit like, that is not going to work. Like, he's contacting Sterling, Raphinha, and that's going to, yeah, you can't do that in today's football, man. You can't. And I'm sort of like chuckling to myself, thinking, please let this be the demise. I hope they drop out of top 4.
Man. Listen, they've done it to themselves, though. They have literally sold players that would probably bleed for that shirt, and kept players that have just gone now. Christensen, Rudiger have gone, but they sold Gahey to Crystal Palace. They could have done with keeping him before they sold Tomori, which just baffled me. I was calling. That's another link that got linked from my channel as well, by the way, Joe. When I said that I want Tomori at Leeds, all of a sudden it was in like online publications. Leeds should go for Tomori. That was hilarious as well. But yeah, they're in a rebuilding stage right now. They've got to sort out their striking position too. Obviously, that deal Lukaku won. I don't know how they're not looking at that for money laundering. I'm surprised. Honestly, I have to believe Lukaku and Inter made an agreement. Listen, I'm going to get you 100 million, man, so you're not in so much trouble. But you got to bring me back, man. You got to get me back. 8 million for the loan fee, man. Mad, some serious figure missing about there. But listen,
it's mad. It's mad. It's going to be an exciting season, though, bro. What I'm looking forward to.
That's it. It's a season of unknown, isn't it, for us? But for me, that's more exciting than if we had gone in with the same squad, where I know it would have been a season of terror. So at least here we don't know what we're going to get. But I'm optimistic. I think we're going to have a mediocre season, and I would welcome it after last year.
Same here. Do you know what as well? I think this season we might actually take 1 or 2 scalps, maybe one against some of the big 6. I think we might squeeze some of them because Jesse will adopt a certain style. I know he tried to do it against Arsenal and all that sort of stuff, but it wasn't helped with the red cards. It'll be different this time around, and I think we might get a few scalps at Ellen Road, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, I'm looking at that early Chelsea game. You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 9 points.
You never know.
9 points. You know what, as well, KJ? I'm looking forward to a cup run. I think under Jesse, we could see a quarters, maybe even a semi. You know, I'm not lying. In the Carabao Cup,
easy there.
Not in the Carabao Cup though. I think he'll get, because I know it's in different leagues, but he's always done well in cup competitions. He won't throw them like Bielsa did. You just never know.
No, he's absolutely going to be out for the cups, and I'm looking forward to that too. Listen, we're going to be getting in quite a few players. I don't want to mirror them, but if we can have a season like Palace did with bringing so many new players and then getting that cup run, hey, that would be an amazing season for us. Oh, hey, let's go. Let's go. I would absolutely listen. I'm so desperate for us. I mean, it was great lifting up the Championship trophy. That was a buzz. Imagine picking up a Carabao Cup. Wow.
It'd be mad for us, wouldn't it? It would.
I'll be streaming all day and night, man. I'm not coming off.
It'd be class. Listen, mate, thank you so much for coming onto the channel. It's been great to catch up with you. Great to chat with you.
No problem, man.
Legend, man. Make sure you go over to KG's channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Always putting out content. I'll probably have a video dropping tomorrow because I just have to keep on working on the daily grind. But yeah. Thank you very much, and make sure you check out KG and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, peeps.